Alright, so I just finished making my latest batch of home brew. As you can see, it's kind of hazy, not too clear. It only has a thin, maybe 1 to slightly less than 1 finger of head. But it looks like it might leave a little bit of lacing on the glass. And if there's anything that really determines how good like a home brew is going to be, it's the amount of lacing. Like, lacing is the #1 determiner of like homebrew quality. So I kind of out of practice, making beer with the this super high-end beer kit I have. But it might not turn out great. It might turn out really bad actually. But pretty much all I drink is like Natural Light and Milwaukee's Best. So I'm pretty sure no matter how this tastes, it'll be pretty good to me. I don't have what you would call a very sophisticated palate. So bottoms up, let's give it a try. Oh my God! Ugh, that tastes like rape! Oh, jeez, but that said, I could kind of get used to this actually. Greetings and salutations. Mike Jewell here, and I'm here to talk about Mr. Beer. 5 years ago, my first video, not about gardening, was a video about homebrewing beer. And it was basically me describing how I found the homebrewing process, and me talking about my kit, which is this really old Mr. Beer kit from the 1990s. Now they make a brown keg. This is a yellow keg, which they stopped making a long time ago. This actually came with a cap that an airlock plugged into, and the new Mr. Beer doesn't use an airlock. But the thing that really screwed up my first beer was mostly me, to be fair. Mr. Beer, this is not a bad product. It only makes 2.5 gallons of homebrew, but it's an excellent gateway brewing system, and I don't want this beer to get a bad rap because I screwed up with making this kit. And where I really screwed up is I used the liquid malt extract that was like 15 or 16 years old, and it was really bad. I mean, it was like supposed to be a West Coast Pale Ale, and it was black. So I kind of want to redeem myself, and I kind of want to redeem Mr. Beer, because if it weren't for this kit that I bought at a garage sale 5 years ago, I wouldn't be enjoying the hobby of homebrewing like I do now. So what I want to do is, if you want to really watch me make a Mr. Beer beer, and they don't even make the West Coast Pale Ale anymore. Like, when I first got this kit was like maybe a few years before Mr. Beer got bought by Cooper's, and then Cooper's changed all the Mr. Beer recipes. And the old Mr. Beer recipes are good. The Cooper's might be better. I haven't actually brewed a Cooper's Mr. Beer yet, but I do have some old videos you can go back and watch of me actually making like a not rotten, ancient batch of Mr. Beer. And it turns out great. This was a fun kit. I learned about some of the basics of brewing playing with this kit. And, the holiday season is upon us. I guess it's pretty much almost already Christmas. Christmas should be in a few days, depending on when I get this video uploaded. But every year, my original old Mr. Beer Goes Horribly Wrong video, it gets a bunch of hits around the holidays. And that's pretty much because I think a lot of people on Christmas morning open up a Mr. Beer kit, and then everyone goes on YouTube to watch videos about other people brewing with Mr. Beer kits. But if you got, well, I'm sure you didn't get one of these for Christmas, but if you got the modern version of the Mr. Beer kit for Christmas, you're going to have a lot of fun, and it's a really good kit. So what I want to do now is I want to go through a 15-gallon batch of beer. Of grain to glass. I'm going to start brewing now, and then the glass part, we're going to do this beer that I've already brewed, and I'll give a little taste test of it at the end, and you know, we'll just do a really quick run through of the whole process. I did an all grain to glass video maybe 2 or 3, probably about 2 years ago. If you want to watch that, it's pretty good. Without further ado, let's start brewing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start out with a nice sack of malted barley.
Look at this big old sack. That sure is a big old sack. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at these roasty malts. Oh, so luxurious and delicious malty goodness. Yeah.
Alright, so there's our sack. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get some nice strike water, which will become hot liquor over time. We're going to get that up to a good mash temperature. Let's say 150.
Alright, here's the temperature of our water. And here is our water.
Okay, so now it's up to temperature. Let's throw the malt in there.
Alright, so now we got some hot mashing going on. We got our grains, strike water, turning into hot liquor, swirling around.
Okay, so malt's in there, malt's swirling around. Moving on after that, we're going to pump all our wort out of the mash tun. We're going to pump it out into the backyard.
Now we have finished the mash stage of the brewing day. Behold, the yellow vinyl tubing which goes out of the laundry room window into the backyard. And behold, the valve I will open. Oh my lord, I open this valve and our beer begins its journey to the boil kettle. And also, I close this valve because that valve does not need to be open any longer.
And also the freshly malted wort as it leaves the basement and it enters the boil kettle on the back porch.
So, now it's in the backyard. Let's get it boiling. It's boiling now.
Look at that mother, she boiling.
Okay, so it's boiling. Boiling for half hour, or no, so yeah, let's put some hops in there. Yeah, let's put some hops in there.
Throw some hops in there.
Okay, so and now it's been boiling for a half hour. Let's add some more hops.
More hops.
Okay, we just added more hops in there. Okay, now there's only 5 minutes left in the boil. Let's add our last hop addition.
It's the last of them.
Okay, so we added the last hop addition. Last hop addition's in there. Okay, 5 minutes is out. Flame out. All right, flame out. Now let's start pumping it through the wort chiller into the basement, and from the wort chiller into the fermenter.
All right, now we're pumping the beer from the boil kettle in the backyard through the chiller into the primary fermenter, and we fill in the primary fermenter up. And that's how we do it.
Okay. Now we're letting the fermenter fill up. The fermenter fill up. All right, the fermenter's full.
Now the primary fermenter is full of the beer. Ha ha!
Okay. Let's pitch some yeast in there.
And we're going to pitch the yeast in there. I'm lazy, so I just doing dry yeast this time. And this is a lot of beer, so I gotta use a couple packs. And there are 2 different types of yeast. Make a yeasty cocktail.
All right. So we pitched some yeast in there. Good. It's good to see that the yeast is pitching. Okay, let's come back 12 hours from now. 12 hours from now, let's watch it bubble.
Alright, so it's been about 12 hours. It's the next morning, and this is primary fermentation at its best, and here we go.
Alright, so we got active primary fermentation going on, super active. Okay, so let's come back in 3 or 4 days.
Alright, so the blow-off tube has been removed, the airlock has replaced it, and I'll just keep an eye on this over the next few days or weeks.
Okay, 3 or 4 days have passed. You can see I pulled out the blow-off tube and I stuck airlock in there. Alright, so let's come back in 2 weeks. Alright, it's been 2 weeks. We're back. Now, a lot of time I'll do a secondary. I'm not going to do it this time. I'm lazy. I want to drink my beer already. So what we're going to do is siphon it into the keg, directly into the keg. Okay, so now we got 3 kegs full. So now we're going to force carbonate it, and here's where it gets tricky. So most of you guys probably don't force carbonate the way I do. If you want to do this method, there's 3 ways. You can find a very small adult, maybe an individual with some kind of a dwarfism, like a chondroplasia or diastrophism. You could use a very intelligent monkey, probably, or a very high-functioning infant, because you need a lot of enthusiasm and little hands to get the carbonation perfect. So this is how I force carbonate my beer.
Hey Rachel, help Daddy shake the keg. Help Daddy shake the keg. Yeah. Shake the keg. Yeah, Daddy. Yeah. Help Daddy. Yes. This is how we put the bubbles into beer. Yeah, shake the keg. Yeah. Yeah, good job. Come on, boo-boo. Yeah. Good job. You good job.
Yep, okay. So once you get the keg thoroughly baby shaken, you're just gonna, cool it off. Get it cold. Let the dropping temperature really help dissolve the CO2 and settle the keg down. And then pour a beer. So I got this one poured already. So let's give it a serious taste. I'm not gonna spit it out this time because it actually didn't taste bad. This is actually a beer I made over and over again. I probably made about 8 batches of this, or 4 30-gallon, 4 30-pound batches of this split in half. It's basically it's a single malt beer, and I usually use Avantgarde 2-row because that seems to be like the cheapest 50-pound sack I can buy at my local home brew store. Sometimes they'll have something cheaper, but I always use some kind of typical 2-row or pale malt. And then I use different percentages of Cascades and Citra, and I change those up every time because I'm trying to get it perfect. But the thing with this beer is I almost have it perfect, and there's something missing. And we just recently had a new president elected in the United States. I don't have any comment on that really, but I live here in the Washington D.C. area, in our nation's capital. I'm a creature of the Beltway. I like to travel on our metro rail system here. It's fantastic. It's really luxurious. So great, really. And I really wanted, like the minerality of this beer, like the water of this beer, to really represent the drinking water in this city, in this nation's capital. So I called it. This is like my Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission Special Edition White IPA, and the big difference is all of the strike water in this batch of beer came out of the koi pond in my backyard. And then I took poop out of my cat's litter box and I steeped it in that water for about 14 days. So I have a feeling this is really gonna be like a really luxurious drink. Like I know you're thinking, oh my God, you really are gonna get rancid beer poisoning. Oh, you're gonna make a video of yourself in the hospital or throwing up this beer. But really, I gotta level with you guys. I've been drinking this for like a week already, and it's delicious, and I really can't say enough good things about this beer. What it is it's the combination of Safale US-05 and Bale Saison, Danstar Bale Saison yeast. They filter all of the toxicity out of the cat poop, and you know, you get really good head retention, and like I mentioned earlier, lacing from all the fish scum protein that's in the water. So let's give it a try, and I'll let you know what you think. Oh my God. Oh, that's better than sex, you guys. So good. I mean, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I think I've mastered my craft. Like, I really, really know how to brew good beer, I think. And adding cat feces and pond water to your brew, you know, it sounds a little unorthodox, but it is good. And you know, I feel fine. God, I could drink this every day. I could drink this instead of water. It's just really, really good.